Welcome to Foundation Friday. The dedication and covenant of silent unity was signed on December 7th, 1892 by Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, founders of the Unity movement. It is unlikely when they signed this covenant that they had any idea how far-reaching unity would be as it evolved into the church we know and love today. We invite you to join us as we explore and share some of the original ideas, teachings, and writings of the men and women who created the foundation of the Unity Church.
Hi there. Thank you for joining us today for our Foundation Friday series. We always appreciate you tuning in. Today on our Foundation series, we're not going too far back in time. This was written between 1977 and 1983. Some of us remember those days very clearly. We are looking at what was at one time considered a textbook for unity. It's called Unity, the Teachings and Principles, and it was written by Reverend Carol Ruth Knox. We recently did a backstory on Reverend Knox, so if you're curious, you can find that in our video archives. I will post the link so that you can download this PDF if you're interested in knowing more about how the principles of unity were taught in the late 70s and early 80s. Today we're looking at chapter 3, Jesus the Christ. And the reason I have chosen this is because sometimes in unity, there seems to be a little confusion about Jesus and his role in unity beliefs. I hope this clears it up a little bit. I thought it was beautifully written. So I will read. I hope you enjoy. An overview. Let's take a look at how unity sees Jesus of Nazareth. It is important to have good information in this area because it's probably the area that you will be where you will be most resisted. As you know, many call unity a non-Christian cult. You need defenses and answers to respond to such challenges. Jesus of Nazareth is the Son of God. Jesus is divine. Thusly, we are Christian. Christians place their belief in being labeled Christian based upon the biblical passage, John 3:16, which states, "For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that who should believe in him shall have everlasting life." For Christians, that passage promises them everlasting life if they so believe. As Unity students, we also accept that passage fully. But as stated in the first chapter of this book, which I'm not reading to you, all biblical material is interpreted the minute it is read. Clearly, we have a different interpretation, and that is what makes us unity. As mentioned in chapter 1, the whole meaning of Christ has been available for interpretation from the moment Jesus died. Within 50 years, the question was being asked by those who took responsibility. What is the nature of Jesus? What is the Christ? Is it divine, human, a person, an energy? For any person then or now to profess that they know what the true nature of Jesus or the Christ is a conscious choice in their own mind. That means simply, no one really knows. All concepts are interpretations. Christology, Jesus is undefined, unknown as an absolute object. Christ is an interpretation, actually yours to make within, led by the vision and guidance of those who precede you, combined with your own inner sense. The whole issue is part of the great Christological debate, which has never been resolved and can never be resolved. It is our question to discover, to evolve with, to follow. In fact, it is extremely important, and maybe it was so intended. Unity's response to the question is that Jesus, like ourselves, is both divine and human. Therefore, Jesus is a man. Embedded within Jesus, as it is embedded within every human being, is the Christ. That Christ is the connection in the human with God. The Christ is God in the human. It means that every person is God, since God is in every person. To review, Jesus is a man. You are a man or a woman. Jesus has God within him, the Christ implanted. You, everyone, has within them God, the Christ implanted. As Jesus stated, know ye not that ye are all gods? Does that feel uncomfortable to acknowledge that you are God? What does it mean? People assume that such a statement would mean a person is God, meaning that they even presume the phrase would be like Caesar, considering himself a god. They fear what his egotistic opinions have done to those who believe them, making them oppressive, manipulative, awesome, compelling controllers as forces in the world. If the reader interprets each of us is God as a statement of personality, then you are constructing the ego's sense of being God, which is not what unity teachings intend. Instead of doing that with the words, take them simply to mean we are all chips off the old block. That is all it is saying. Lessons in Truth uses the excellent analogy to the ocean. The whole ocean is comprised of H2O. The ocean is God. If I take a drop of water from the ocean, I realize that that drop of water is still H2O, as is the whole ocean. That drop is analogy to the Christ and the ocean to God. There is no assumption on Unity's part or anyone who teaches this to imply that the individual is the whole of the ocean. But we do know that we are the same as the whole. So we are a portion of the whole. We have the same qualities, the same nature, the same intention. Such a concept image gives credibility to Jesus' statement, I and the Father are one. Understanding that God is within gives cause to Jesus' words, turn to the Father within. Through such phrases, he was able to teach and convey a feeling of relationship, your relationship to God. Its intimacy supporting the Old Testament phrase of God's being closer than hands or feet, closer even than the breath you breathe. Okay, that's just a little bit of chapter 3 out of this particular book. I find so much of the book very helpful and well written because it's so recent. The language is much more understandable and relatable. And again, we have evolved and are ever evolving in our experience with spirituality, God, and the principles within. Unity's Unity's fifth principle is to live the truth you know. When you know more, you do more. I hope you have enjoyed our time together on this Foundation Friday presentation. And I hope you'll look up the book on Unity Teachings. Have a wonderful day and a great week. Namaste.
Thank you for joining us, and let's stay connected and grow in spirit. We are on Facebook. Search for Unity Church of El Cajon and follow us and like our posts. You can reach us on YouTube at Unity Church of El Cajon. Please subscribe to our channel, watch our videos, and leave comments which can help us improve. We are on the web at unityofelcajon.org. Email or call our church office to receive our weekly newsletters, which lists all of our activities and opportunities to learn and grow together.